you don't think you need to look at butter. You do now. Because food companies are getting really savvy. And they're not being, I don't want to say they're not being very honest, but they have a lot of loopholes that they can hide behind to make their product cheaper and look like it's a healthy product when in fact it's not. So just check for those things.
Vegan butter. That's an oxymoron if ever there was one.
Well, it's just I think like the milks. You know, they're using milk products like with almond milk and cashew milk. I used to always think it really wasn't milk. It was more of a juice, but it's for people that have digestive problems or they're trying to avoid that. But I know what you mean. Okay, so I went over some natural unprocessed but heat sensitive become rancid. So if you are using your oils and you're heating them too high, you're oxidizing that and it's becoming rancid. And so that's one thing to keep in mind. When you're seeing the smoke coming out of your frying pan, I'm not saying throw it away, but that's a clear sign that it's now becoming a rancid oil. Varieties of oils that are nuts. Walnut oil, almond oil. You're going to see that I was surprised, there's walnut oil now. That's probably been around for a long time. I never noticed it. Seed oils would be avocado and sesame seed. Whole avocados. That's a great fat. So if you want to add fats to your diet and you don't really want to do a lot of oil, but you want to have fat, because I mentioned before, fats are really important for nutrition, for digestion, for healing the gut, for all sorts of nutrients that we need for our body, fat-soluble vitamins. We need to have some fat. So avocado is a great option. Fish. So fish is a really great one as well as eggs.
What about Crisco? They call it a vegetable shortening.
You've got soy.
Yeah, Crisco. All I can say is it's not on my healthy food choice for me. I'm not shaming anybody that wants to use it. It makes delicious cookies and pies. I remember my grandmother cooking with it, and boy, they were delicious. So I'm not making any judgments. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the fats. Okay, so I said something about fat-soluble vitamins. So that is what helps build your immune system. So that's vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin K. So you'll notice that like with milk, you'll say vitamin D fortified or vitamin D. So that's because it's in fats. Of course, we get vitamin D from the sun as well. So your fat-soluble vitamins are stored in your fat cells, in your liver, and in your kidneys. So that's like if you watch a show like Alone, and there's some, I don't know if you guys ever watched that show, or these survival shows, and they're out there and they're just eating a bunch of protein, but they don't eat any fat, they starve to death eventually. But they pull from their reserves. They're pulling from their muscle, they're pulling from their fat tissue, and their liver, our livers, store all kinds of nutrients that we need, and it releases it as we need it. So if you kind of feel like you want to cut back on your fats, and you're worried that, oh, you're going to become deficient, and you're going to starve, and your body isn't going to be fed, believe me, you're probably going to have ample supplies in you, but that depends on how much absorption you have in your cells already. And with fats, they're very, very high calories. So they're 120 calories for a tablespoon. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, they're, again, controversial. Some people just, thin as can be, and pour their olive oil on and say they swear that olive oil is great. But if you're really trying to watch your diet too, I just recommend get a tablespoon, fill it with olive oil, and put it on your salad, and just see how much are you actually really adding to your foods or adding to your salads. And it's just to give you an awareness. It's just to kind of give you this, maybe I just put 500 calories on my salad. I like to use citrus a lot. I like to use fresh lime juice, fresh lemon juice. You make your salad be the flavor. Don't rely on just the dressing. Make the vegetables and the herbs and everything that you put in your salad be the flavor. And then the dressing can be a complement to it. That's just my own personal opinion. Let's see, I did want to talk a a little bit about, and salad dressings too, that's one thing just to kind of look at. Just like everything, when you're going to the store, just check your labels. There is an app that's free, and I probably have this later on my notes, but I want to touch on it because our class is going to be rounding up a little bit. It's the EWG, it's the Environmental Working Group. And that's an app that you can download on your phone. They're amazing. And download it on your phone, pops up. You can put in anything like Dave's Bread, Ritz Crackers, and it's going to have a color code on there that tells you the safety standards of that food. So if you're just like, I'm overwhelmed by all the stuff that Deborah said the other day, I don't know what to buy. I don't know if this is good or not. That is an easy cheat sheet. And it also, I think, will read those little codes. I don't know what they call those, SKU codes now. You get your phone up there, it brings it all up, and it has all the nutrition value in that food as well. So that is just a really easy way of figuring that out.
You mentioned Dave's Bread, is that a good one?
Well, I looked that up the other day, and they actually said it was okay. They didn't have a red warning on it.
What does
No, that
EWG stand for?
Environmental Working Group.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I believe also they do a lot of recipes and aid for people that are on a budget. I didn't really look too much more into that, but I do know that that was one of the educations that I received, was how to help people to that, for eating better, that are on a tight budget. And I think they are one that has that information as well. So for the sake of the class, I have a lot more information here, but I'm going to just keep going with a few things that I have left, and until the time is up. So let's see. We're going to talk a little bit about constipation. So what is constipation? It is having a bowel movement less than 3 times a week. Normal is 1 to 3 times a day. Okay, so to me that seems like a lot. But everybody's different. We can have up to 3 to 5 pounds of waste in our body. That's totally normal. Okay, now I want to talk about, because there's a lot of women in this class and there's a few men. But ladies, if you are not having a bowel movement 1 to 3 times a day, that's totally okay as well. In regards to your large intestine, or your colon, is longer than a man's, and we digest slower. And the reason why we digest slower is we have hormones, and we need to feed our hormones. So we have menopause, and we're birthing babies, and we have all of these needs that our body has. So we need more, I don't say we need more nutrients, but our body is busy with the food that we're eating, and so we are slower to digestion. So things that help: squatty potty. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. Works great. It helps with the gravity flow. Because we weren't made sitting on toilets. We were squatting, and that's how we would go to the bathroom. Now we're sitting on toilets, and our legs are level with our hips. And so when we squat down, so you raise up, you put your feet on this little stool in front of your toilet. It lifts your knees up, and it helps with the constipation part. You can have diarrhea and constipation at the same time. That's kind of weird, right? But it happens. When you have compaction, waste goes around it, so you can still have diarrhea and still be constipated at the same time. In fact, that could be a sign that you are constipated when you have diarrhea. So here's to red meat. If you have constipation, beware of red meat. If you love your steak, you may want to think twice. Okay? It can take up to 3 days or longer to digest red meat. So if you love your meats and turkey, chicken, fish, better options. And dairy also slows digestion. So if you're eating a lot of cheese and you're drinking a lot of milk and you're battling constipation, you may want to hold off on that. Water, movement, hydration is really important. So when you're drinking alcohol, when you're drinking coffee, you're going to need the same amount times 2 to replenish what it just pulled from your body. So if you wake up in the morning and you're drinking your coffee and you're going to work and you might have a soda or you might have an iced tea, or it's not going to help. Don't think you're hydrating your body because you're urinating. You're pulling water out of your cells. So you need to replace that. Not only do you need to replace it with water, you want to replace it, if you can, if you're drinking a lot of coffee and wine, you want to replace it with electrolytes. So electrolyte is something you could make at home. Basically a little sea salt, a little bit of citrus, like a little squeeze of lemon. Warm water is amazing for constipation, nourishes the body right away. And you can put usually a little bit of, you want a little glucose in there. So you can drop some fresh fruit, you can add a little bit of honey, because that's really good for the gut.
Vinegar, warm water or vinegar?
Vinegar is good. Vinegar, what it does is it activates your digestion, so it's a stimulant. But it's not really, I don't think it's necessarily an electrolyte, but you can add it to it, and it's not going to harm. Some people have a reaction to apple cider vinegar. Some people that have GI problems, if they have too much gastric acid, it backfires. And they can have all kinds of heartburn, all kinds of problems with it. So if you're going to start apple cider vinegar, I do suggest that you just start slow, and just to make sure that that isn't what's going on. Typically people don't have enough stomach acid, but some people have too much. But that's a good question. Okay, how are we doing, Melanie? Do I have 5 more minutes, or how do you
Okay, we
feel?
started a few minutes late.
Yes.
So you can go until 20 till if you need to.
Okay, are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
Is everybody okay? Because I know I'm like a load of going through a lot of stuff here. So we talked about the electrolytes being really good to hydrate your body. And I want to reiterate, alcohol is the same thing. So if you're having an 8-ounce glass of wine at night, you want to have 16 ounces of water after that. Or if you're at a party, don't think, oh, I'm drinking my water and doing good. It takes twice as much. Another thing that helps with constipation, there are what they call hydro clinics around. I think there might be one in Santa Rosa as well. Yeah, that's kind of maybe a little weird for some people to think about, but for some people, I know one in my family in particular, she swears by it. It totally helped her problem where doctors were not able to help her at all. And it's basically a very sanitary situation. They go in, they pump water and fluids and electrolytes into your body, and it flushes everything out. So sometimes that happens, and it helps to get the body moving again. It helps to get the system going. So there is hydrotherapy. Fiber, eat more fiber if you have constipation. It holds the water and it builds the bulk, but beware, if you are gassy and bloated, fiber can work against you. So you want to add it very, very slowly. More is not better. It can backfire on you. Let's see. Constipation of side effects. Side effects of constipation. Again, skin. Bad breath. Okay, you got a bacterial overgrowth situation going on. Bloating and cramps. Also, it can be very dangerous. So if you feel like you've been constipated for too long, they say a week or more. I don't feel comfortable telling you what too long is. I don't think I am in any situation to tell that to somebody. But if you are questioning it at all, I would definitely go see a doctor right away. It's nothing that you want to just ignore. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what constipation causes. It can cause what they call SIBO. SIBO is a bacterial overgrowth in your small intestines. So you can kind of imagine what happens in small intestines. That bacteria, you have good bacteria, it starts promoting bad bacteria, and it pushes up into your small intestinal lining, and you can have all kinds of problems, again, that are similar to the ones that I just went over. I personally have experienced this. It's extremely painful and very embarrassing. You can have very foul gas. That's something that is a very sure sign that you have something SIBO or related to SIBO. You have a bacterial problem, and it's basically fermenting in your gut, for a lack of a better word. So foods to stay away from, again, high fiber, fermented foods, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, onions, especially if they're raw. Do not want to eat them raw at all. Even cooked can be dangerous. Bone broth, again, where I just said it heals the gut, it does not do well with SIBO. It does not like it. You're going to have a histamine response to the bone broth.
How do you spell that word? SIBO?
It's an acronym. but it's S-I, B as in boy, O, and it means small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Herbs that help to soothe the intestinal lining: marshmallow root and slippery elm. Now, I give fair warning to everybody again, if you're on any type of medication, you do not want to be taking herbs willy-nilly. They can interfere with your medication. So if you think, oh, this sounds good, I think I'm going to try it, I read it on Google, or Deborah, my health coach, told me about it, you do not want to just take it, because it can stop the medication that your doctor's on, or you can have an adverse reaction. What's calming? Chamomile, licorice, catnip. And that's kind of weird, huh? Catnip.
Licorice raises your blood pressure.
Okay. Turmeric. And when you're taking turmeric, you want to make sure that you take it with black pepper and boswellia. Okay. And I just want to end a little bit here about stress. If you do have stress too, it really does hinder your digestion. So it's actually when doctors do a study report, they say it's like 80% of the illness that they see coming in their door is stress related. And as a health coach, I want to talk about the environment. Your environment affects your stress. Your relationships at home, your relationships with your family, your TV that you're watching, the news. We just got done with COVID. We were watching people get sick. Well, okay, I know, right? Maybe not done, right? You don't really realize it, but we're living in a very stressful time. So the thoughts that you think, the information you feed, not just your body, but your mind and your spirit, having joy, having love, having healthy relationships, having appreciation. Okay, these are things that are not clinical that I'm going over, but these are probably one of the most essential things when you're going to talk about health. Gratitude, love for one another. All of these things are very, very important to health. And so I don't want to end the class today by not discussing those things, because if doctors are saying that most of the illness coming in through the door, and I'm not saying that cancer isn't real, or illnesses are not real, or there's a blame situation going on here why somebody is ill, because that's not true. But these are other factors too that I want everybody just to leave in mind with, that are elemental and pivotal to your health. So, okay, we're going to wrap it up. We've got goodie bags for everybody, and also we have a free giveaway. So in your pamphlet, you guys have seed packets, because I love to garden. So I thought, oh, we'll give everybody a little seed packet. Whoever has the seed packet that says sage wins. All right!
Just thinking, it's not going to be me.
She wasn't thinking it.
Okay. All right.
She gave me the sage seeds and I gave them back.
I was like, I don't know. I saw some seeds on the table. I'm like, I don't want to say anything. And guys, I'm going to be teaching another class here on June 2nd. Starts at 4:30, and it's health for women. So we got, as you can tell, there's going to be a whole lot of information I'll be going over. And then if you have a specific topic that's related to you that you would like to have discussed at the next meeting, send me an email, and I would love to go over it. Anything that you guys find helpful for you, I want to support it 100%. So feel free to contact me if you have a certain thing that you'd like to discuss. Oh, and then there's a goodie bag. There's a goodie for me to give away from Healthy Haven. Healthy Haven donated, or not donated, but gave everybody here some chia pudding with almond butter and berries, and they make their own yogurt. And then they wanted everybody to know that there's a band, there's a thing going on in town.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I just want to mention the goodie bags should help with de-stressing.
Oh.
Thanks for coming, and Deborah, thank you so much.
Well, and thank you. And thanks to the Senior Center. I want to thank the Senior Center and Melanie too for reaching out to me, because it's a gift to me. Because I love doing this. It's something I've been passionate about my whole life, and it's a gift to me to be able to be here. So you guys are a gift to me. So I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time to be here today, because it really meant a lot to me. So thank you. I'm going to get the parfaits out, and
And I will hand out the goodie bags.